Hi, I'm Maria, and this is Life, Spirit, and the Messy Middle. Now, I created this channel, it's my first YouTube video, as a space to talk about life as it's actually happening, and the questions that we have, the uncertainties, the things that don't always fit into a nice, neat little box. And I love exploring topics like spirituality and intuition, myths and legends, and even some conspiracy theories. Okay, and basically stories that tell us not to that society tells us not to believe in because it keeps us subservient to them. Okay, I do read tarot. I work intuitively, and I also work with my spirit guides when I read them. But this isn't about telling anyone what to believe in. It's more about reflection. It's curiosity, and it's having thoughtful conversations. Sometimes these conversations can be a little serious, and sometimes they're fun. So stick around. But before I go on, before I begin, I just need to say that everything shared on this channel is for personal reflection and entertainment purposes only. I'm sharing my own interpretations, my own beliefs and experiences, and not giving any personal advice, okay, of any kind. Um, Nothing here is intended to replace the medical, psychological, legal, or even financial advice that you should be getting if you are going through something serious. So please, please, please seek that professional advice, or even someone that you trust. Okay? Right. Now, today I actually thought, let's touch briefly on something called Gnosticism. Have you heard of Gnosticism? Okay, so I'm about to just give you a little explanation of what that is. Gnosticism wasn't a one religion. It was a group of early spiritual ideas that basically existed in the first centuries after Jesus. And at its core, they had one belief, and that it wasn't, and that, sorry, you wouldn't find the truth in blind faith. Okay, it was meant to, or you were meant to find it through inner knowing. Okay, and that inner knowing was actually called gnosis. This is where it kind of differs from traditional Christianity, because Christianity emphasizes belief in obedience and salvation through an external figure. And Gnosticism rejects that. It focuses on awakening, on remembering and discovering who we truly are. Gnostics actually believe that there was two layers, okay? Um, and again, this is where it differs from Christianity. And one of the layers was that there was this true spiritual realm that was whole and pure and complete, and that was called the pleroma. And then there was this other material world, this physical reality, full of matter and decaying bodies, basically. A little bit morbid, yes, I know, with many, many, many limitations. Okay, and it wasn't considering this as symbolically evil, but it's still, they thought of it as a system capable of producing harm, because it was absent of awareness. Okay, the idea wasn't that humans were actually sinful, but it was that humans had forgotten who they were. And awakening is remembering, right? So why does this matter today? The idea shows up everywhere today, even if people don't realize it. Modern spirituality actually often talks about awakening, the inner truth, questioning authority, and remembering their authentic self. There are deeply Gnostic ideas, even if the word Gnosticism isn't actually used. And you can see these in so clearly in so many modern stories today, like film, for example, The Matrix. The Matrix is basically a Gnostic story. It has a false reality, control systems, and awakening through knowledge. Even Star Wars. Star Wars follows that same pattern: hidden knowledge, inner power, remembering who you are, and breaking control systems. Okay. And these stories resonate because they're like a mirror. People that people already feel. Okay. Now, to close today, that was just a brief, um, education, I suppose, on what Gnosticism is and how it is used in today's spiritual beliefs. And I want to pull out a few cards, not to predict the future, but to look at them and kind of see a theme. All right. I use the actual Rider-Waite tarot. Now, not always, as you can see behind me. I've got so many cards, so I might be using some of them later on too. Not today. Today, I'm just going to pull 3 simple cards. Bear with me while I shuffle. Now, I want to ask the spirit guides, mine and yours, what they want us to be aware of right now. Okay? So what do our spirit guides want us to be aware of right now? Now, please bear in mind to, if this, whatever resonates with you, you can keep. Whatever doesn't resonate, doesn't matter to you. Okay? Ooh, okay. Hang on. Too many cards there, sorry. What do our spirit guides want us to be aware of right now? What do our spirit guides want us to be aware of right now? Gosh. Right. One more shuffle. I know you can't see the cards. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to shuffle them. I don't have a system where I can just put the camera down at the moment and show you what I'm doing. But I just pulled them into 3 piles, put them back together, and now I'm going to choose a card. The King of Pentacles. Now I have to cover this up, but this is actually the Lover's card. And the Moon, okay? Those are the 3 cards that come out. Now, just bear with me for a minute because I'm going to read intuitively what these cards are trying to tell me, or us. Now, the first impression I get is that the King of Pentacles is a very powerful, very, very wealthy type of person. It does symbolize things like business owners and wealthiness and people controlling wealth. Okay. He doesn't seem to always, the King of Pentacles itself, traditionally, isn't a bad person. He's just very Capricornish, which basically means that they're very level-headed in the sense of business. This is what it is. This is how it has to be. And you either follow it or you don't. Doesn't matter. Okay, there's always consequences for that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that this card is trying to symbolize in awareness, because I'm doing awareness, challenge, and guidance, 3-card pull. And this is basically for us to be aware that there's a lot of control, a lot of money through control, okay, or a lot of control through money that is happening at the moment. And it's been happening through many, 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 many hundreds of years, thousands of years. It's still happening today, okay, that control is still happening today. Now, that is the awareness we need to understand, that we are under a lot of control, okay? Now, again, I'm going to cover this card. This is the Lover's card. And the Lover's card basically talks about decisions. And intuitively, or it also actually talks about connections, and unity, okay? And intuitively, what I'm getting through this card is that the only way out of this control is through unity, okay? Humanity needs to stop listening to the lies, stop allowing this control that is happening at the moment, this suppression of our beliefs and our voices, really, to stop controlling us. Okay, we need to stick together. Humanity needs to stick together. Stop hating on one another. That's not going to get us anywhere. We are all one species, the human species, and we need to stick together in order to survive what these people, I really think that a lot of them aren't true beings. They have no soul, because nobody that thinks that war can be justifiable, or that suppressing us and hurting us through police brutality is a good, pure soul. So this card is basically challenging us to that unity. This is the challenge that we have to face, to come together, and to basically unite against those forces, okay? And then you get the moon. And the moon is basically telling us that we need to start looking at the truth, okay? That follow your inner truth. Follow and that's the guidance, okay? Now, the moon card can traditionally depict lies. It can depict chaos through lies, and being able to see the truth because it is illuminated by the moon, okay? The moon is the mother, the divine feminine. Now, I know a lot of you will think, oh, well, I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist either, okay? But I do believe in equal rights. And I believe that everybody has a right to feel and hear and speak their truth. That is a suppression that is happening at the moment. And this is what the moon is trying to illuminate. Okay? The moon is trying to tell us, look at all this that is happening. Is this what you really want your life to become? Hello? Okay? So, through unity, we see the truth. Through being united, we see the truth. And we stop the actual suppression and the oligarchy, brutality that is happening today. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, and I hope you don't mind that I took a little bit of time here to try and express my own feelings about what's happening in the world today. Again, this is about reflection and guidance, okay, and not in a advice sort of way, because we are all free to follow whatever we want, okay, but it is important that we understand what keeps us apart and what keeps us together and what makes this world function. Let me tell you that within the next 10 to 20 years, everything that you know today's systems to be are totally collapsing. Everything is going to transform. And a lot of that is going to be very difficult for some people. Okay. But in ending today, I just want to say again, this is a place of exploration, not answers that are carved in stone. Okay. And again, some days we'll talk about spirituality. Some days we'll talk about myths. Some days intuition. And sometimes we'll just sit in that messy middle. Okay. Now, if this resonates with you, please, please, please feel free to press that like button and subscribe to my channel to hear more of what I have to say. And I'll see you next time. Okay. Bye for now.